Hello, and welcome to the Culturally Based Fraternity and Sorority Intake and Recruitment webinar. My name is Jasmine Hardy, and I am the Assistant Director of Fraternity and Sorority Life here at Miami University. I primarily advise our culturally based councils, which comprise of the Multicultural Greek Council, also known as MGC, and also the National Pan-Hellenic Council, known as NPHC. And I am happy to be able to talk with you today about our culturally based councils, all of our chapters, and just more information on the intake and recruitment process as it pertains to these two groups. First, I want to start off with our community. Our community, we have 5,000 plus students across 54 chapters and 4 councils. Within this community, we make up about 30% of the student body population, and we're super proud of all of our students that decide to join our community through the academic year. First, I want to introduce all of our councils, but again, highlighting two particularly through this presentation. But first, we have our Interfraternity Council, also known as IFC. They are 24 all-men's fraternities that are recognized nationally. We have the Multicultural Greek Council, MGC, which is 4 organizations all recognized nationally. Within that, we do have a multitude of different organizations with cultural identities, but I'll share more about them in this presentation. And we also have the National Pan-Hellenic Council, also known as NPHC, which there are now 4 sororities and 4 fraternities recognized nationally. Again, there's 4 sororities and 4 fraternities recognized nationally. And then we also have our Pan-Hellenic Association, where there is 18 all-women sororities recognized nationally. Just to give a bit more of a definition about what it is to be a culturally based fraternal organization. So, culturally based fraternal organizations, or CBFOs, are social organizations that are aligned towards special interests in a culture or cultural identity. So, therefore, these organizations may have a bit more emphasis on things that have a lot more of a cultural base and may be recognized to certain communities compared to others. But however, despite the historical founding of cultural based fraternal organizations, membership is open and welcome to all racial and cultural identities. There's no discrimination just because a certain organization may be historically founded by a particular interest group or a cultural identity does not mean that those that may not clearly identify with that cultural identity or particular practices does not mean that they cannot join. Again, these social organizations are open and welcome to all. So to first highlight our recognized culturally based organizations, I'll start with the Multicultural Greek Council. As I mentioned before, we have 4 multicultural chapters, and they are Alpha Psi Lambda National Fraternity Incorporated, Sigma Lambda Gamma National Sorority Incorporated, Theta Nu Xi Multicultural Sorority Incorporated, and Delta Kappa Delta Sorority Incorporated. Collectively, they all participate in the Multicultural Greek Council, also known as MGC. MGC is the collective umbrella organization that is home to our 4 culturally based organizations. Alpha Psi Lambda National Fraternity Incorporated is our Latino-based co-ed fraternity. Sigma Lambda Gamma National Sorority Incorporated and Theta Nu Xi Multicultural Sorority Incorporated are our 2 multicultural sororities on campus. And then we also have Delta Kappa Delta Sorority Incorporated, who is our South Asian Interest Service Sorority. Our next culturally based organization council is the National Pan-Hellenic Council. The National Pan-Hellenic Council, also known as NPHC, is the collective umbrella organization that is home of 9 historical African American fraternities and sororities. Collectively, they are known as the Divine Nine. So each and every one of these fraternities and sororities have a historical context of being founded by African American college age students at their respective universities. And here at Miami University, we are very proud to have chartered 8 of these 9 historical African American fraternities and sororities. And they are, from our fraternity side, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, and Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. And for our sororities, we have Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, and Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. Now, no matter the council, whether it's culturally based or not, all 4 of our councils have requirements and policies that they must adhere to here at Miami University. First being academic standing. Any potential new member or those that are of interest to looking to join any of our councils must complete 1 full-time fall or spring semester. So therefore, at least a minimum of 12 credit hours before they can move forward in any type of new member process or attempt to join a chapter. Grades, a 2.5 cumulative GPA is required. However, some chapters have a higher GPA and standard in this. So our MGC and MPAC, they do require at least a 2.5, but again, some chapters do require a little bit higher, maybe something of like a 2.75. Credit hours, each student must have accumulated 12 credit hours from Miami University or another accredited university. It is important to know that we, as a university and as a fraternity and sorority life office, does not accept any credit that may have been earned in their high school time. So things like AP credit or IB credit or dual college credit, those things are not accepted. All college credit hours must be from an accredited university if it's not Miami. Also, members must complete a online hazing prevention and education module via Vector Solutions, which is our way of educating potential new members and those that are being educated and those that are expressing interest to know about the ins and outs and the rules and regulations about hazing. And then we also have intake that occurs at the discretion of each chapter. So this may occur in the fall or in the spring semester. So therefore, not every chapter within MGC or MPAC may conduct a new member process in the spring or fall semester. This is up to the decision of the chapter within those respective councils and to the needs of the chapter as they see fit. And lastly, must have a completed required membership intake packet that is provided by the facilitating chapter. So therefore, each chapter that is looking to conduct intake and to bring in new members, they must work with the Fraternity and Sorority Life office here at Miami University and fill out the required paperwork of letting us know who they are looking to interview and have joined their organization, but also give us a timeline of when they plan on doing them, from their formal informational to all the way to their initiation of these new members. Also, I just want to highlight the state law here in Ohio. We have what is called Collins Law, which is also known as the Ohio's Anti-Hazing Act. Hazing violates Miami's policy and Ohio state law. So therefore, that means those failure to report or intervene may also constitute a violation. All Miami students must complete hazing prevention training and learn how to report suspected incidents or injuries before they start their first semester. They have to complete a second training if they want to join a fraternity or a sorority. And we like to share with parents and loved ones and other families and friends, we recommend talking to your student about hazing prevention and learning how to report hazing before they start the recruitment process. You can also take a look at this QR code in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, which will take you to our landing page to give you more information about the state law and Miami's policy when it surrounds hazing and what it is, what we do not, and that we do not tolerate, but also to give you more information on how to learn more about hazing. Expressing interest and joining a chapter. So in this section, I'm going to share about what it looks like in expressing interest and then also versus joining a chapter. These things may feel the same, but they look totally different when it comes to culturally based fraternal organizations. First, in expressing interest in a culturally based organization, it's very important for your student to want to do research. There is a lot of ways and opportunities to do this research in person, to do it online. And so we truly encourage students to make sure that they have a wealth of information about all the organizations that are part of our councils, whether it's MGC or MPHC. A lot of times, these chapters may seem similar, but they all have very unique and distinct things that make them special and that they are founded upon, as such as in their values, in their morals, and their principles. And again, that makes them the chapter that they are. So, for and within research, there's no formalized recruitment structure like our interfraternity council or Pan-Hellenic. So, a lot of this is a self-seeking type of way for your student to research. It's very also to research the national organization to learn more. Go to the head to that organization's national website and see what that organization is all about. That's where you're going to get a lot of information about the history, what the organization is about, and in the community, what are their philanthropies, what does service mean to them. Also, to be able to learn about um, what does it take and what is needed to potentially become a member of that organization. CBFOs do not always conduct intake at the same time or every semester. So it's very important to know if that organization is going to be conducting intake or recruitment during that semester, because some chapters may hold off until the following semester or maybe even 2 semesters. Again, it depends on the need and the timeline of that chapter. However, another way to express interest during that time, if your student is in waiting or still looking to find out more information, it's super important to get involved and engage. Follow the chapters on social media, attend programs and events. All of our culturally based fraternal organizations, they do a lot of programming and a lot of events for the community, where it is open for those that want to get engaged, get involved, be exposed to different things. Our chapters are doing a lot of great work to bring people out within the community to engage and participate. Also, each council hosts a seminar or some type of meet and greet of their council. So the MPHC seminar is a great way to know who is who um, on campus, and same way for Meet the MGC. There will be a lot of wealth of knowledge and information about these organizations and also the councils themselves. And then, of course, engage the members. A lot of our chapters give students the opportunity to participate in programs and events, whether that's going out on service expeditions or participating in bigger programs where they may actually need people to help volunteer, to set up, or even participate in the full program itself. And then also, a simple way to express interest is to just talk and make friends. These are our students in this community are just that. They are students as well, who were also those that were looking for ways to get involved and engage, who also did their research and just made connections with people despite of their interest in the organization. But they truly decided to just make friends and see where that took them. So now joining a culturally based organization is a bit more elaborate and a bit more in depth. And so in the beginning, there is usually a formal informational or rush. A formal informational or rush is the organization's initial beginning steps of intake for potential new members. Once again, not everyone is doing this at the same time. So it's truly on the individual organization on if they decide to do a formal informational or rush, but this is the initial beginning step. It is an opportunity for aspirants or potential new members to learn more about the organization and the chapter of interest. So these formal informationals and rush truly gives a deeper education to a potential new member about the chapter that they are interested in, about the organization and its national efforts. So this is a very important beginning step if your student is looking to join that particular organization. So after the formal informational and rush, the application and interviews process begins. Most organizations require an unofficial application from potential new members for their national headquarters administration. After applications are submitted and reviewed, an invitation for an interview is offered. So therefore, in this application, there um, that means your student has met the general qualifications and has made those connections with the organization and its members. And so therefore, they feel comfortable and feel very strongly about this organization. So they apply with the hopes that they get extended an interview. And so after that interview, there is a potential for an invitation and a new member education process. So organizations review all aspirants and decide on who to extend an invitation to join their organization. So it's very important to note here that even though if your student applies and they are and their application is reviewed and they interview, just like as if they were interviewing for a job, it may not be the right time for them at that moment, and their application and interview could be not accepted, or their overall application could not be accepted, and then also just not be extended an invitation, excuse me, at that time. So once again, the organizations review all aspirants and decide on who to extend an invitation to join the organization. After invitations are accepted, the organization moves forward with their new member education process. And this new member education process typically lasts about 4 to 6 weeks, depending on when the initial formal and informational slash rush may begin. So usually this does take a nice amount of time of the semester, just through from the informational to the application and interviews, and then the official invitation to potentially start a new member education process, which again can last between 4 to 6 weeks. Now I'm going to mention about just membership expectations and opportunities. This is the time when after your student has interviewed and they've been extended an invitation and they have gone through the new member education process and they have been officially initiated into the organization that they have expressed interest in. So once a student joins our community, education does not cease. They are given the opportunity to go through a new member orientation, and that is to more so highlight and educate them about the council that they are joining. We understand from our fraternity sorority life office that they are going to be well informed about the organization that they have joined. And so now it's important for them to understand the council that they have joined, and then also the overall community of fraternity and sorority life at Miami University that they have joined as well. So this new member orientation truly is to highlight what's next, what's to come, and the things that we expect them to be looking for and doing as they join the community. And then also there is more online anti-hazing workshops to complete as new members, because again, that education about anti-hazing and prevention does not cease just before they join the organization, but it's a continuous education that we put on all of our students, no matter the council. Second, of course, they are going to be learning about more about policies and rules and regulations that we have set for our community to keep them safe and to keep them thriving, and also just truly good members of the community, but also continue to be good members of the overall Miami community. So therefore, they'll be more endowed in learning about the student code of conduct, the council's constitution and bylaws, and of course, again, Collins law on hazing policies. And then, of course, when they join the community, they're going to get an enamored amount of support. We have a very strong office, not just in fraternity and sorority life, but our Center for Student Engagement, Activities, and Leadership, where the fraternity and sorority life office is held. And also, there will be individual chapter support and national organization support as well. So when students join our community, they are covered in support in every which way, and we are so excited to be able to support them, whether they are general members to those that join executive board positions, or even go all the way up to like our chapter presidents. And of course, as becoming new members of our thriving and awesome community, we have expectations of our members. So first and foremost, being the academics, maintaining academic excellence to work towards graduation. We always say that becoming a fraternity and sorority life member is a perk in the journey of their education, and hopefully it is to increase their excellence in the classroom, because they do have to maintain certain GPAs to continue on being part of our community and part of their chapters and part of their council. So we want them to be students first, going to classes and doing well and being leaders in the classroom. Second, we expect them to be involved in MGC and MPAC, as well as other student organizations and clubs, to build a well-rounded portfolio. We do not expect our members to drop other passions and interests that they have, but to either bring those things into the fraternity and sorority life community as well. But we want them to be able to continue to do the things that they love while also being a good standing member of either council in the overall community. And then third, citizenship, giving to the community, to your brothers or your sisters, and to yourself to strengthen the Miami experience. We want them to be giving into the community. We want them to be good citizens, not just of Miami University, but also of Oxford, Ohio, where Miami resides. But then, of course, to their neighboring brother or sister, no matter the council and no matter the chapter. And now, before I wrap up, I'm just going to give some helpful information that for your student to know and for you to know as you may try to look more into these organizations. So things to know, joining a chapter, joining a council, joining the fraternity and sorority life community, it is a high demand and commitment and engagement of your chapter and council. In the Multicultural Greek Council and the National Pan-Hellenic Council, our chapters are smaller in just in the number of chapters that reside in each council, but also for the number of members that are in each chapter as well. So therefore, with smaller numbers, a higher demand and commitment and engagement is expected and sometimes required. There's a lot of work to do with not as many bodies to do the work. And so we usually just tell chapters to be mindful about the commitment and the level of engagement that they are participating in. But for potential new members, we want them to be well aware that when they join these organizations, that they are expected to do work and be committed and engaged. Also, just requirements, there will be requirements from stakeholders and entities, just like the SEAL office, so student engagement, activities, and leadership, the national headquarters of those individual organizations, including local, state, and regional organization leadership. So there's going to be requirements and rules and regulations and needs that are going to be coming from all these different stakeholders to make sure that the chapter is thriving and operating at a high level, but also to make sure that they are abiding by the national requirements and needs of their particular organization. Also, your students should know that they are not only joining a chapter, but they're also joining a council. It's very easy to forget that you, as a member, are now also joining a bigger organization within your chapter, which would be the umbrella organization that I had mentioned before, MGC or MPHC. Another thing to note is some CBFOs are require an amount of community service hours for application. So it's very important to know that if your student has not done any service hours before and not too sure about how to go about service hours, definitely reach out to the Center for Student Engagement, Activities, and Leadership. We have a lot of resources and connections to get your student with some community service hours. But please be mindful and please make sure your student makes double checks to see if any amount of community service hours are needed when they are looking to apply for a potential organization. Application fees, so therefore total costs and new member fees vary per organization. Some organizations have a high number because they may include the entire calendar year or academic year, or they may split it up a little bit between between two semesters. But it's very important to know that application fees do not come from Miami University. It is per every organization and what their national headquarters sets for them in that academic year. And then lastly, the intake process varies per organization, and not everyone looks the same, but all organizations honor that aspirants and potential new members, their decision to join an organization is personal. And what that means is that um, every chapter does not highlight when they are conducting recruitment or intake because of the intimacy and the nature historically of how these organizations have had to go about creating organizations and also bringing in new members. So that type of tradition has uh, continued on. But however, I would like to highlight for things to know that when your student goes through an intake process with a culturally based fraternal organization, there is a moment in time at the end of their new member education process where they are presented and shared out to the community, fraternity, sorority life community, and the overall community to highlight and to welcome the new members of that organization. But however, again, the decision that your student may make to join one of these chapters is personal and also just very much so kept close to the chest of the current members of that organization until their new member education process has completed and they can highlight and share to the community the new members that they have brought in. So that is the end of my presentation. I thank you so much for listening and learning a bit more about our culturally based fraternity and sorority organizations. Once again, my name is Jasmine Hardy. I am the Assistant Director in the Cliff Alexander Office of Fraternity and Sorority Life. Also, that office is within the Center of Student Engagement, Activities, and Leadership. Also, again, I primarily advise our two wonderful, strong, and mighty councils, the Multicultural Greek Council and the National Pan-Hellenic Council. And this is a way to contact me. You may email us at fsll@miamiohio.edu, or definitely please check out our landing page to learn a lot more about all of our councils and more information on our culturally based fraternal organizations. Thank you so much and have a great day.